faces. Oh, there we go. Hello. Welcome to the REDI Commission meeting. It's all the council members in here and make you nervous. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with our flag salute. If we could have Commissioner Deutsch do that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, wonderful. And we'll go ahead and do a roll call.
Commissioner Deutsch,
Here.
Commissioner Eventov,
Here.
Vice Chair Faulkner,
Here.
Commissioner Lecters,
Here.
Commissioner Pastorian is absent, Chair Steed,
Here.
and Commissioner Wilson is absent. Thank you.
Wonderful. And then do we have any public comments this evening?
We do not for non-agenda items.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then we'll go ahead and we'll move to our consent calendar and move to approve the minutes from October 12th. Anybody make a motion?
So moved. Second.
So I have a motion from Commissioner Eventov and a second by Commissioner Lecters. I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Deutsch,
Yes.
Commissioner Eventov,
Aye.
Vice Chair Faulkner,
Aye.
Commissioner Lecters,
Aye.
and Chair Steed.
Aye.
Thank you. I have Commissioner Pastorian and Wilson absent.
Okay, wonderful. And now we're here already. We're going to move on to the business of the evening. This is our last proclamation of the year, and I'm really excited that we get to do this one. It's also our last meeting of the year. And tonight we'll be given a proclamation for Native American Heritage Month. Anybody that lives in this community knows what a huge presence our local tribe has here and what they bring to our community, and it is really an honor for us to be able to give this proclamation tonight. So with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the program, and we'll start with the staff report.
Thank you, Chair Steed. We actually do have two videos tonight. It's been our custom over the last year as we've done these proclamations to go ahead and find a government-sourced video. I will say Commissioner Lecters had encouraged me to see if we could find, we could do a land acknowledgement. And instead, we actually found a documentary by Pechanga for Pechanga that was put together by them in 2019. But before that, we're going to hear a little bit from the Department of Interior about Native American Heritage Month. So Chris, if you can play the first video and then follow it up with the second video.
Guwatsi Haupa. Hello everyone and happy National Native American Heritage Month. I'm proud to join you all from the ancestral homelands of the Anacostan and Piscataway people here in Washington, D.C. to kick off a month of celebration. This month, we honor the gifts of our ancestors by celebrating Indigenous knowledge, traditions, language, and culture. But at Interior, we do that every day. We respect Indigenous knowledge in our work to fight climate change and build back better than ever before. We're committed to robust tribal consultation and living up to our trust and treaty responsibilities. We center our work on the voices of Indigenous people as we address the missing and murdered Indigenous peoples crisis and take action to help people heal from the painful forced assimilation practices of the Indian boarding schools. All of our work is done with the leadership of President Biden and an all-of-government approach to ensure Native American, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, and island communities have a seat at the table. As the first Native American Cabinet Secretary, I know that we have a lot of work to do, but I also know that our ancestors are smiling down on us, giving us strength, and are proud of what we've accomplished so far. Native American history is American history, and it's only by recognizing that history that we can build a future that is equitable and inclusive. Happy Native American Heritage Month, everyone.
Love it.
Veitsikoskanam eskuna hisjoon uni. Joon hisjapok miesmoni sen helmakos kalun. Kun maassa kun paalle hiskon jäljyni sen helmakas. Kai hisku san in jaokos kun asmi joon taahon. Joon nuom kiva.
It's the coldest, wettest winter on record in Southern California, and these Indians refuse to chop down the trees. They'd rather go cold before they did that. You know, it just tells you something about who we are. My grandma tells stories when she was in school in Paris that they'd hit her with a ruler when she tried to use Indian words.
They beat my grandpa for speaking his language, and they cut his hair, and they put him in a bath, and they scrubbed him with a hard scrub brush to scrub the brown off his skin.
For example, my mom, it wasn't so much that they didn't want her to speak, but they didn't want her to be ostracized and singled out as a Indian person. And, you know, back in those days, your status wasn't very high.
They wanted you to fit in so that way it would be an easier life for you.
I didn't even know I was Native American until my mom caught us playing cowboys and Indians.
And they were going around the bush and pop, 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 pop. We're killing the Indians, you know.
And I was on the cowboy side.
What are they doing killing the Indians? What's wrong with them?
She called us in and explained to us.
You know, the Indians you were killing down there in that bush. I said, well, you're Indian. Oh, they were wide-eyed.
The old-timers went out hunting and killed a deer. We all had to share it because we had no refrigeration, no lights, no phones or anything like that at that time.
Yeah, no telephones or anything.
When somebody breaks a leg, you had to take them to the Fallbrook. That was the nearest hospital.
We had to haul water to the house every day.
We had an outhouse, which the outhouse is still there with my sister's shoe in it.
It was buckets at night and outhouses during the day.
I would get one bucket, put it on the stove, heat up one bucket of water, and add 2 buckets of cold. And then we would hoist it back up in the tree, and that was my shower.
We shopped at antique stores for appliances.
I sometimes took shoes out of the garbage can in a locker room at high school because they were better than the ones I had on.
We actually moved to the reservation and lived in a motorhome. 28 feet of marital bliss is what that baby was.
A lot of people did not believe me when I told them I was an Indian. They thought I was making it up.
I remember being asked in every grade I was in if I lived in a teepee, though.
We had a little TV, and my dad would plug it into his battery on his truck, so we'd get to watch TV for a little while.
When it got dark, what did you do?
Go to bed.
My dad said his grandma she'd go, oh, I wonder who that is. And my dad would say, well, who? Well, that person turning off the road out there on the highway. You know, and that's how quiet it was. And it was that quiet for a long time.
People would donate toys and food stuff so we could have something. And
rather than giving out food stamps, because there were no stores in Temecula at the time, they'd bring in a load of commodities and they would give out commodities to everybody.
And of course, when it rained up on Palomar Mountain, well, we would end up with water flowing through the river.
I remember, you know, the road would wash out. There'd be times when we were on the house side, and there'd be times when we were on the other side, and we'd have to stay with friends in town.
The person on the north side, you'd call them up and give them your grocery order, and they would wade the supplies across.
You were kind of stuck there till the rains went away.
My parents worked. They always worked very hard all the time in order to provide for our family.
I think it was just instilled in all of us that if you want anything, you have to work. So I started working when I was 12.
You know, it was much more beyond get yourself through high school and then get to work.
We had to do everything for ourselves,
to maintain the water lines if they broke and fixing them.
We depended on each other to help each other.
Which is better,
And
I think.
When somebody was digging outside or whatever they were doing and you drove by, they would stop to help. I mean, they didn't even have to ask.
We were very much a family.
In them days, you could get scolded by somebody else's parent, for acting bad and getting in trouble. We were truly and honestly raised by a village of people.
I just remember being a dirt road and the sign out in front that said Pechanga Res and like no hunting.
That breeze that comes in at night and then hearing the branches click together.
And when you came in, you would drive up the sand wash because it was smoother than the road.
When you're born with no resources and when you're born in a place that's tough, either you get swallowed up by it or you get stronger.
Gaming just didn't get started by talking about it. This was a tract of land, the Kelsey tract. It used to be dry farmed. Primarily oats and different types of grains were grown.
It was kind of an open slate. What do we do now?
My grandma was always a little bit of the entrepreneur. She suggested that they start selling sand. And that's kind of what they did for a little bit. They sold sand in the basin and made a whole $8,000 a year.
We had flea markets here, like swap meets and stuff.
That didn't turn out too well. There was not a lot of people that showed up to that.
I heard a story recently about us putting in vineyards. We put the vines in upside down or something. So
they never grew. What the hell's going on? We were planting them upside down. I don't know the difference. We didn't know what the hell we're doing. We were just trying to make some revenue for the tribe.
They spent a number of years exploring different options, but it all seemed to come back to gaming.
It was kind of hard to see in the minds of some people, they would say, if we build this gaming facility, how would people come? Why would they come? Would they even come?
But a lot of people were for it because they felt it was going to better the economy, better their opportunity for work.
There was enough talk about what gaming could be and could do for the tribe that it eventually ended up for a vote.
The vote, if I remember right, was really close. It was 45-55%.
We voted for it, and then one day we just plopped those modular casinos down. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen, because it represented progress for our people.
It was basically a poker room and a trailer with some machines.
Did anybody imagine if it would take off like this? No, simply no.
To me, it was like a miracle.
I couldn't believe it was something that the tribe owned and was running.
We didn't have pavement for people to park. We didn't have a legitimate sewer system. We had a septic tank that had to be pumped every day.
And it's important to remember, we didn't have food. We had no restaurant, no nothing. And we had waitresses, but they brought around drinks and little malt balls and goldfish. Yeah. And that was dinner. Yeah, it was just bare bones.
Everybody knew each other by name. It was like a big family. You had an extended family in addition to your own family at home.
Butch Murphy said, "See this down here?" And it was nothing but dirt. And he said, "Well, that's where our permanent building's going to be."
Gaming tribes held a press conference today to outline their strategy in the battle for Proposition 5, the Indian Gaming Initiative.
Prop 5 greatly ties the hands of future governors to do anything but approve the Indian casino proposals. Current Governor Pete Wilson opposes Prop 5 for that reason.
Pete Wilson was not going to negotiate a compact for any tribes anytime. He just slammed the door, even though federal law mandated that he do negotiate a compact with the tribes. He never did.
So now we're in the political arena full time, trying to get the state of California, the voters, to vote in favor for us.
Let me define sovereignty for you, however. It's the right of a tribe to choose for itself what its own way of life is going to be and what its own economy is going to be within its borders. And there is no...
The first time we had Prop 5 to amend our ability to do gaming. Then we had to do it all over again. Prop 1 was to amend the state's constitution that redefined gaming as we know it to allow tribes to do what they're doing today.
We won by 65% of the vote. Then all of a sudden, we were players. And it was just like overnight.
I really believe the reason why we won that because we were taking care of our community.
Now we have a water department, full-fledged. We have a GIS department to be able to tell you exactly where it is under the ground. Things we couldn't dream of doing 30, 40 years ago that we do every day.
You know, after we had some success, there was a real commitment to put money into our cultural programs, our cultural revitalization programs, protecting our sacred places, our gathering areas.
Granite Construction was proposing to mine aggregate from Puesca Mountain. Unfortunately, the city and the tribe was in a losing battle.
As Pechanga, we have the certainty that we can take on a mining company. We as a tribe have been here for thousands of years. We don't have the option of saying, okay, you know what, we don't like the neighborhood anymore, so we're gonna buy a new neighborhood. No, this is the land where creation happened for us. This is the land that our ancestors sacrificed their lives on for us and are the reason that we're here today.
It's very bittersweet that we ended up paying tens of millions of dollars for repatriation and recovery of lands that were ours. But the sweet part is, because of gaming, we could do that.
I really felt that the Liberty Quarry brought everything together. I really felt empowered.
Because of this newfound prosperity that we have, we've been able to really go out and reach out and find these things that were kind of lost.
As we get more of these things back for ourselves, it just builds our community even stronger.
Look, we're teaching young kids the native language in our school.
We're at a point now where kids think it's normal to hear the language all day long. What could be more American than saying the Pledge of Allegiance in an American language? That's progress, real progress.
When tribal healthcare came along, it was huge. A result of that is that the lifespan of our tribal members has increased dramatically.
We don't have to live off the government anymore. We can take care of ourselves.
More than ever, there's a resurgence in the community. And I think a lot of that has to do with our efforts we do at the school and our efforts we do with our youth.
Our kids have the opportunity to do whatever they want to do. I don't know why I'm getting emotional right now, but it's because it means that much to you. Education was huge to you.
I have the resources to send them to college. My oldest just graduated from USD.
I know that I can provide for my family.
We have our own child and family services department now. We have a tribal court now.
Having a court is a total expression. You're exercising your sovereignty. It's not just a word. We're actually doing it.
I don't want to be reliant on anybody of something that can get taken away. That is why we have to be so sturdy and so broad in our diversity.
I've seen this cultural awakening with this tribe. You know, it's okay to be Native American again. That's where my pride comes from our history, and from knowing and learning about our past and, you know, clinging on to that.
I've heard it from my grandparents, I heard it from elders. You gotta have pride in where you come from. This is where we come from.
Being a member of this tribe means being a steward, being Payomkawish, to be from this place, to be a person of the sun, to be bright.
Being Pechanga or being Native or being Indigenous, it's my heart, it's my soul, it's my connectivity with the universe, with this land.
When you talk about something feeling natural or normal, it's hard to explain what it is. I'm proud to be who I am.
I'm proud to be from Pechanga, Payanquich, from people of the West, the Señor Indian. It makes me proud to be that.
So many people have tried to make our people disappear. You can look at the missions. They got rid of our lands. They didn't ratify our treaties for 45 years. Tried to assimilate us through the boarding schools, through relocation, through all kinds of official federal policies, and we're still here.
We struggled quite a bit ourselves in our own community, and we've always known that feeling of being without, and we haven't forgotten that.
I've been involved in the community a very long time, and I have never seen an organization as giving, caring, and sincere as the Pechanga tribe.
Pechanga is completely committed to this community. They are truly compassionate partners, and we're so grateful for their support.
I'm very thankful not only for what Pechanga has done for Oak Grove, but how they've shown up in our community. They're visionary leaders. They have helped so much in terms of education, less fortunate kids. They're very big on character development.
I can't stress enough the importance that Pechanga support has meant to the Boys and Girls Club over the years.
Without the ongoing support coming from Pechanga, Cause for Kids wouldn't be here.
Because they give back to organizations like us, lives are changed, lives are enhanced, lives are saved, because Pechanga has the vision to step up.
Every member here, I truly feel, has a part in a story.
Working with all the elders, I really appreciate them now because they've taught me so much. I think I'm gonna get so emotional because those ladies they're like really amazing ladies.
I have great reverence for the people who came before me and what challenges they suffered through.
I'm under the same tree where my mother was, my grandmother was, where all of my ancestors were.
I know they're here, and they never leave us.
And knowing the sacrifices that our whole tribe went through, or all our people went through, to get us where we're at today. This is who I am.
Sorry. Years ago, things were not easy, and that's why we're such strong people now.
I don't have to suffer because my ancestors were here and they preserved things. I believe it's our turn to be accountable and responsible.
You know, I can't even put words to it. It's a
Kunting ayal ay nakalap. Ay takway, ay yawak. Ay Jesus and payo iti Kristi siyang kalap. Kalap.
Madam Chair, I did not want to share anything via a staff report beyond that. I think it was appropriate to hear from our brothers and sisters directly tonight. With that, we will move on to the next part of our program, which we actually have Mayor Schwenk here with us. And then we can move on to the other videos as well.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm assuming Supervisor Washington's video will go after. So when I thank him for participating, just know that I knew he was going to participate. Good evening, Chair Steed, commissioners, staff, students, and community members. I am Zach Schwenk, Mayor of the City of Temecula, and it's an honor to be here tonight as we share in tonight's Native American Heritage Month celebration. As always, I'd like to thank Supervisor Washington prematurely for his continued support of our community and the proclamation presentations here at the REDI Commission. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank Mayor Pro Tem Stewart and Councilmember Kalfas for their support and attendance here this evening. Thank you for being here, to both of you. As I've done in the past, I wish to direct my comments to the students here tonight and the youth in our community who may be watching this in the future. It's important that we continue to create and nurture an environment that is inclusive and uplifting. A place where we can listen and learn from you, a place where culture can thrive and empower all of us to be more empathetic to one another. I'm confident that we will all leave here better people because of you and the example you provide for us as leaders in this community. As I prepared for this evening, I started to reflect on the past year of these proclamation presentations that I have attended. I did miss a couple, but I always tried to send in a video to acknowledge the importance of the event. The through line for me was always the people. It was always the people. It was always the students. The people who attend and how they process that evening, the proclamation presentation. And I would always offer words of inspiration and hope, and words that quite frankly sometimes felt insignificant, given the realities of people's experiences, the struggles, oppression, and suffering many people have endured throughout history. But as a community, we moved forward. Tonight, as we honor Native American Heritage Month, I'm hopeful that we will all learn something tonight, and that we won't just file that information away, but we'll use it for future action. Let us use tonight as a lens for the work that must continue in our community if we truly desire to be an inclusive and vibrant community that values and respects all people. When the Temecula City Council voted to change who we recognize at the city council level, I wasn't happy. And I don't bring this up to relitigate this, but there are times where I feel like I have to speak my truth, where I have to be myself. And tonight is going to be one of those nights. I certainly wasn't happy about it, to no one's surprise. I actually voted against the change. I wanted to make sure that the REDI commissioners and staff knew that I appreciated all that they have done to make these nights as supportive and educational as possible, so I leaned into it and I participated. Much of what we do at the REDI Commission was never done at the city council level. So let's not overlook that. What you've done here is quite frankly wonderful. Our community is blessed because of it. You did well. Given the task at hand, you did wonderfully well, and I commend you for that, and the community values you. But there's always a but. For the past year, I've worked within the framework that we collectively decided on as a council, even though I disagreed with that outcome. I leaned into the proclamation, supporting the community, supporting staff, commissioners, all along the way, while many people felt the sting of the disrespect of the city council turning its back on them. Next year, we will modify the process once again. I believe the changes will be beneficial and a positive step, and I will continue to participate, learn, and engage in that process as a council member. And I want to end with this. The Pechanga people are connected to this land in a way that is not possible for me or for you. The Pechanga Band of Indians is a sovereign nation that deserves immense respect, not only as people who have called the Temecula Valley home for more than 10,000 years, but from a government-to-government perspective as well. It is my belief that when the City Council moved the proclamations to assuage the fears of the few, we did serious damage to many. We are perpetuating the trauma that many people feel in our community, and we cannot work side by side if we were not on the same level. Clearly, we have much to learn. I'm here tonight with an open heart, ready to learn, and I appreciate you all, and thank you for being here.
Chair Steed, I don't know if anybody else wants to go ahead and provide any of our, yes, our Mayor Pro Tem Stewart would like to provide some comments, please.
Thank you all for doing this. You guys are doing an incredible job here at the REDI Commission level for these proclamations. For those of you who don't know, I'm a history buff. And so the tribal history is something that I'm always trying to learn more about. And so that it's the history that they have had here in this valley is tragic. And yet they've rise to a whole nother level. I've lived here 33 years. And so when I moved here, literally, my house was 1 block from where the casino sits today. And it was an empty lot. It was a dirt lot. And so when we were being shown our house, the real estate lady said, "See that land to the left?" We were on Villa Eduardo. And that land to the left, that's all reservation land. It'll never be built on. And it was like, oh, that's beautiful. And so within 2 years, the trailers came in, and it was fantastic. We loved it. I mean, we were only a block away, so when they would start putting on their concerts, it was literally sit in our front yard and listen to it because there were tents. And so they had $3.95 buffets. I mean, it was really a fun place to go hang out. We'd take our kids over there. And so so I've been there from the very beginning before they even had the casinos. So my kids went to school with their kids. And so my daughter was good friends with a couple of the kids on the res. And so it was a very unique experience to live in Temecula before what you see Pechanga is today. So I'm very happy that they were given the opportunity to provide for themselves and create a life and a lifestyle. And that's the one thing I've been impressed with about the Pechanga people is they were always humble people, and they're still humble people. So, thank you.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? We're good? Okay, so we have a video from Chuck Washington.
We'll go ahead and play the video from Chuck Washington at this time.
Hi, I'm Chuck Washington, Riverside County 3rd District Supervisor, and it's an honor to join you as we celebrate Native American Heritage Month. During Native American Heritage Month, we celebrate the rich and diverse culture, traditions, and histories of Native Americans and indigenous peoples who are deeply woven into the character of our nation. We take this time to also reflect on the contributions, achievements, and sacrifices of our country's original inhabitants and their descendants. There are 574 federally recognized tribes and 326 Native American reservations recognized across the United States, 3 of which are within the 3rd District: the Cahuilla Band of Mission Indians, the Ramona Band of Cahuilla, and the Pechanga Band of Indians who have called the Temecula Valley home for more than 10,000 years. I want to leave you with this year's Department of the Interior Native American Heritage Month theme, celebrating tribal sovereignty and identity. While this theme reminds us of our duty to uphold the sanctity of tribal sovereignty, let it also inspire us all to champion each tribal nation's culture, traditions, languages, and histories to ensure they continue to thrive with each passing generation.
Wonderful, thank you. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to read the proclamation, after which we will go ahead and present it to the students, along with the mayor. So let me get started here. The City of Temecula Proclamation. Whereas the history and culture of our great nation have been significantly influenced by Native Americans and indigenous people, and whereas the rich and diverse culture, traditions, and histories of Native Americans have been celebrated throughout the United States and beyond, and whereas Native American Awareness Week was first designated in 1976 under President Gerald Ford, and in 2009 as National Native American Heritage Month. And whereas the recognition expanded in 1990 as National American Indian Heritage Month, and later in 2009 as National Native American Heritage Month. And whereas to date there are 574 federally recognized tribes and 326 Native American reservations recognized across the United States. And whereas locally, the Pechanga Band of Licinio Indians has called the Temecula Valley home for more than 10,000 years. And whereas Native American individuals and families are an integral part of the fabric of the community and contribute to its overall economy and quality of life. And whereas Native American community members are represented in the public and private sector as professionals, business owners, educators, students, volunteers, veterans, and more. And whereas these contributions include those of the youth of the community, including the Indigenous Peoples Club of Great Oak High School. Now, therefore, I, as chairman of the REDI Commission, along with our mayor, Zach Schwank, on behalf of the City of Temecula, hereby proclaim the month of November to be National Native American Heritage Month, and urge all citizens to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities.
And Students Chair Steed and the Mayor will go ahead and meet you at the podium so we can present you with the proclamation. And afterwards, we are looking forward to hearing from you and your presentation. Thank you, the Indigenous Peoples Club from Great Oak High School, for being here tonight.
Mi yam cho'anam, notun yuawashika, non pamkochata, notun Temecula. Hello everyone, my name is Uawish. I am Pam Kowitcham from Temecula, and I'm happy to be here with you all today. As stated in the video, I'd like to acknowledge the land that we're on. We're on Pam Kowitcham, the Pechanga Band of Licinio Mission Indians land. We are the Indigenous Peoples Club of Great Oak High School. Our club has been in existence since 2015, and our club's purpose is to spread inclusivity and share our culture throughout the school. Indigenous Peoples Club has roughly 50 students who come to the club meetings regularly. We want to bring our traditions to Great Oak student body in order to educate the students on culture and heritage. Noshun Lovik, thank you.
Miwa, my name is Josie Neho, and I'm from the Paula Band of Mission Indians. This was our first club meeting of the 2023-2024 school year, and we had approximately 50 students attend. And on September 29th, we honored the lives that were lost in the Indian boarding schools, and we honored them by traditional bird singing and dancing. Bird songs, they tell us the stories of our origin, the land, and our ancestors, and the journey that they went through. And the Pechanga Educational Center, they sponsor our clubs by teaching us how to make traditional jewelry, and the past 2 times they have brought us sweetcha in order for us to, that's how we make our jewelry, and They also brought us prickly pear juice, which is another traditional drink.
Haya kayowi snim Annalisa Cortez na yokets hitilaho nagmam apihetsi. Hello everyone, my name is Annalisa Cortez and I'm from the Tule River Band of Yokuts from Central California. The biggest event, like what we are showing here, is our annual Great Oak Youth and Social Powwow. Powwows are intertribal gatherings that began in the early 1900s as a way for Native people to preserve our culture during a time when it was illegal to practice our traditions. In 1973, when it was no longer legal to participate in traditional practices, powwows continued and are now used as a way for all Native people to gather together to preserve our culture and defend our resilience. We would like to invite you all to this year's Great Oak Youth and Social Powwow on April 20th at Great Oak High School. We will also be holding a Native American Heritage Month celebration on November 30th during our school's intervention period, which will feature bird dancers and singers, powwow dancers, and the clubs Ohananana Nui and Haka performing. Thank you for recognizing Native people and allowing us to share our culture with you today. Wakiensis, thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies. You did a great job. Okay, and now we're going to move on to Commissioner Faulkner. He has a presentation for us.
Well, thank you everyone for attending tonight. We're going to go over a presentation recognizing Native American Heritage Month. So next slide. So some facts about Native American population. On a national scale, the Navajo Nation made up the largest share of the American Indian alone population, 14.6%, followed by Cherokee, 10%, Choctaw, 3.2%, and Lumbee, tribe of North Carolina, 2.5%. About 9.9% of the American Indian population lived in California, according to the 2020 census. The Payam Kawacham, okay, great. The people of the West, I told them to check me if I did it wrong, are made up of 7 bands that include Pachanga, Pama, Pala, Rincon, San Luis Rey, La Jolla, and Saboba. For more than 10,000 years, the Pachanga band of Luiseño Indians has called the Temecula Valley home. As of 2022, there were 574 tribal entities recognized by the Federal Register. Amongst the federally recognized tribes, there are 347 Indian tribes within the contiguous 48 states and 227 Alaska Native villages / tribes within the state of Alaska. Next slide. Let's go over Heritage Timeline. In 1924, U.S. Congress passes the Indian Citizenship Act, granting citizenship to all Native Americans born in the territorial limits of the country. 1929, Charles Curtis serves as the first Native American U.S. Vice President under President Hoover. 1976, Native American Awareness Week was first designated under President Gerald Ford. In 1990, the recognition is expanded as American Indian Heritage Month, and in 2009, recognized as National Native American Heritage Month. And in 2021, Representative Deb Haaland of New Mexico is confirmed as Secretary of the Interior, making her the first Native American to lead a cabinet agency. The history of the Native American people dates back thousands of years. I want to make sure that's clear, and this timeline only represents about the past 100 years. The resource below can provide you more information. Next slide. Final message. We want to just thank you. Thank you for all the things you've done for this land that we call yours. We appreciate you allowing us to recognize you tonight. This is very important to the REDI Commission and to the city that we pay homage to all the things you've provided for us on this land. So thank you so much for your presentations as well. And, in recognition of one of the things that Native Americans brought to us, I want to bring up real quick, World War I and World War II, the code talkers. Where would we be in this country had we not had the Navajo code talkers and the Choctaw and all those that represented the United States military back in those days? You understand in World War II, they were able to identify what we were doing based on our codes because they had figured it out. Well, one way we got around that is we went to the Native Americans who we were telling that we're going to take your culture away from you, take your language away from you. And the very thing we took away from them was the very thing that saved us and pushed us past these two wars. So thank you for all you've contributed to this country, your country, and thank you for allowing us to recognize you. And again, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Commissioner Faulkner. And then did we have any reports from Community Services? Not tonight? Okay, wonderful. And then how about public comments?
Yes, we do. We have one. Jillian Larson.
Good evening, Chairman Steed, all of our REDI commissioners, city staff, and Temecula. And I'm particularly addressing all of you this evening. So thank you for being here. So I'm going to read again. Some of you know I don't normally read, but I feel it's really important that I don't get carried away and forget that it's something that I wanted to say. I really am delighted to be here this evening to acknowledge all individuals of Native American descent and to thank and honor the Luiseño tribe members of the Pechanga Band of Luiseño Indians for being a significant part of the fabric of this town that we all share. Pechanga has done and does and has done so much for Temecula in so many ways. We must all remember the 7+ years to save Temecula from the destruction of the proposed quarry. Pechanga played a pivotal role during those 7 years, which we saw a little about earlier, and eventually saved Puesca Mountain, which is their sacred creation site of all Luiseño Indians, and in addition, this saved Temecula. Please watch The Mountain That Weeps. It's on YouTube, and to come to City Hall on November 15th at 4 p.m. for the annual Puesca Mountain Day celebrations. Thank you all for the extremely generous donations you've made and have made over the years to our schools and nonprofits. Thank you for the opportunity we all have to know more about your culture and history through the displays at Pechanga Casino, the Temecula History Museum, your mobile museum, and many, many YouTube videos. Thank you all for the honor we have to enjoy the gatherings of hundreds of proud indigenous tribes at your annual powwow. Thank you, Pechanga Publishing Company, Great Oak Press. This is an incredible resource for us to know more about your language, traditions, and culture. And thank you to your third graders for sharing their culture and talent with the beautiful wall art at Sam Hicks Park. Indigenous culture has endless sayings that we could all learn from, and one of my favorites is by Tecumseh. A single twig breaks, but the bundle of twigs is strong. My wish for our shared town is that we're all part of that bundle. And thank you for your time and the privilege of being able to speak, and thank our Indigenous peoples of our town. Thank you.
Thank you, Jillian. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to commissioners' comments. So anybody in particular like to start tonight? Commissioner Lecters?
That wasn't really a question, was it? Thank you, Chair Steed. And thank you all for being with us tonight. What a fabulous evening, fabulous celebration. Thank you, students from Great Oak, for sharing your story and your work and what's going on there. I'm going to share two things real quick. First, I serve on the board of an organization that's based in New Orleans called the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond. It's an organization that's been undoing racism across the country for over 45 years. And I had the privilege of hosting them here in Temecula several weeks ago. They came to San Diego, and I was supporting their staff retreat. And they came to Temecula. They wanted to experience wine country. And they got to meet some of our folks here. Chair Steed was there. They got to hear about the REDI Commission. They got to hear about the amazing culture that exists here in Temecula. And so it was just a real privilege to bring them here. And I just wanted to share that. There's nothing really compelling coming out of that, except for that they really like our wineries. So it was very cool. The second thing I wanted to share too is kind of adding to Commissioner Faulkner's report. I have spent more than 20 years working in the child welfare space. And in 1978, the Federal Indian Child Welfare Act was passed. And that was an act that was really designed to protect tribal children, to protect tribal sovereignty, and to really create a space where the tribes were the deciders of what happened to children. It was in response to much of the cultural destruction that we've seen, the boarding school movement, some of the Indian adoption movement that our Child Welfare League of America sponsored decades ago. And I want to say that move towards that act not only supported the sovereignty of the tribes and the support of the tribal children, it impacted child welfare across the country. So we, as a national foundation, I work for a national foundation, we as a national foundation look at the Indian Child Welfare Act as the gold standard of child welfare practice. So not just policy, not just compliance, but actual practice that we think should be spread across all populations. This last summer, and I don't know if this has been shared here, so if I'm redundant, my apologies, but this last summer, there was a major victory related to the Indian Child Welfare Act. The Supreme Court upheld and kept completely intact the Indian Child Welfare Act that was under a legal attack by some folks who want to dismantle it. And I think that that's something for us to celebrate. It's also an indicator that even though we think we're making progress, there's still backlash. There's still attacks on the things that are progressive and supporting children and supporting culture and supporting our diversity, supporting justice-related efforts. So something for us to continue to pay attention to. But I wanted to mention that as something that we need to be celebrating as part of our celebration this month. So just thank you for that. Thank you for being here. Your story is really important. You're the next generation. You're the next chapter of this amazing story of this community. And so just encourage you to be you, continue to learn and fight and grow. And you give me hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Commissioner Deutsch.
I'm ready. So I was touched and moved by the video presentation in so many ways, and to follow it up with you all being here. As I went to the Great Oak Powwow last year, and I'm going to say I'm a huge fan of fry bread. So great, can't wait for this year. It was a very, very moving experience to be there and to watch the dancing and to watch the pride of the students. And I walked away thinking about one of the things that someone said in the video tonight, which is the survival of a people against all odds, where everything and every step that your people have taken has had tremendous pushback. There's persecution and tragedy, and at any turn, people were saying that the tribes shouldn't exist. And here you are. Here you are today with your language and culture and dance and fry bread and powwows and indigenous club at school. And I cannot say how proud I am and how my heart swells knowing that through you, the next generation will continue to know culture and heritage and tradition, and the generation after and after. And thousands of years of the past are being carried into the future by you. I'm overwhelmed by it, like to tears. I'm so happy that you were here and that you came to share. A few weeks ago, I'm part of the Temecula Valley Writers and Illustrators group, and we had an editor from the Great Oak Press come and talk to us about the books that come out of Great Oak Press and the curriculum for the schools and the books that come in different languages. And it's all part of this same chain, this chain of tradition that you are the torchbearers for. I'm grateful that you are here tonight, and I am grateful that Stu, Mayor Pro Tem Stu, and Mayor Schwenk, and I know that Councilman Brandon had to leave, but I'm thrilled that everybody was here to see you and to hear you and to just feel the light that you bring to our community and to know, like, the future is safe. You know, it's good. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Commissioner Deutsch. Okay, Commissioner Evanthoff.
Well, first off, wonderful video. It was great to see and learn so much about the Pechanga Band. Great to see an old friend, Patrick Murphy, gone but never forgotten. Very touching to see him speaking. One of my greatest privileges in my entire life was the 3 years I got to work for a tribe here in the Inland Empire. It was a competing tribe. We won't talk about who. They were up north. And learning much about tribal country, Indian country, and specifically the fight that never seems to stop. While we celebrate the contributions and are very grateful to the tribes here in California. California has more tribes than any other state. We have, I think, 110, 111 federally recognized tribes, not to mention the state tribes that aren't federally recognized here in the state. But the fact is that California tribes, Pechanga, Rincon, San Manuel, Morongo, have all led the fight for tribal rights nationwide. During the video, we saw a lot about tribal gaming. Tribal gaming and the court case that led to tribal gaming nationwide and the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act started here in the Inland Empire. It started at Cabazon. And that Supreme Court decision that led to tribal gaming that transformed Indian country was just one of the many battles that tribes continue to fight. Commissioner Leckers had mentioned the fact that Indian Child Welfare Act was on the chopping block, but it was actually a much bigger deal. Even than losing the Indian Child Welfare Act, what was at stake was what it was to be Indian. And the fact that the Supreme Court ruled the way it did was an enormous victory for Indian country. And the fight continues. Pechanga in particular and Chumash have really led the fight for reclaiming some of their artifacts from the California museums. There are ancestors of various tribes that are sitting in drawers in museums in California. And the tribes have fought for regaining those artifacts and those ancestors. And the fight continues, whether it's fighting for missing and murdered Indigenous women or other topics that are constantly facing Indian country. We are grateful to the tribes, particularly those of California, for leading the way and transforming not only Indian country, but Temecula itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Faulkner.
All right, so thank you so much. This has been amazing. And since I had to present tonight, I had to do my historical research and make sure I was prepared to talk about a couple of things tonight. You know, our city's emblem, as you can see there, is old traditions and new opportunities. Sometimes we have to make sure we learn from those old traditions so we can create new opportunities. So I want you to keep fighting, keep being who you are, and keep focusing on what you stand for, all right? This is your land, and we want to make sure we be good stewards of it. So I had a chance to visit an amazing mural presentation that the school did. It is beautiful. If you hadn't had a chance to go down to take a look at that, it's down at the museum. It is amazing. Please take the time to go down and take a look at it as well. And I told you I was doing my research, notable Native people. So I read this, and I came across two Luseno Indians, Native Americans that are represented here, James Luna, performing artist, and Jamie Acuna, artist, bead worker, and fashion designer. Amazing, and they were from the tribe, the Luseno Indian tribe, so they're represented in this book, which is amazing. So if you hadn't had a chance to get to Temecula Library, they do have the historical books up in the front of the library, and I chose the one at the top of the list and decided to read and learn a little bit more about our Native American brothers and sisters. So, and it was an amazing read. Guess what? Hey, books don't hurt, guys. Books don't hurt. Just want to throw that out there. And then service to the country. I'm a veteran, and I want to keep it in the perspective of what we're talking about tonight, Native American and their contributions to this country. Now, you fought in every war, and they fought to make a good working relationship and be able to take care of their families. So, and I already talked about the cold targets and the impact that had. So, again, and it's based on that warrior spirit that you have. Your resiliency is amazing, and what you've been through to be able to overcome the things that you've overcome in this country and still be standing strong and being confident in who you are. That says a lot. So continue that strength, continue showing us that warrior spirit, and continue to just be the people that you're called to be. You are the original Americans, and we appreciate you and what you provided for us to be here in this amazing country. So thank you so much, and I'll pass it over to you.
At the REDI Commission, we have the best commissioners, and their heart and soul are involved in this commission from A to Z. It is truly an honor to have been able to present you with a proclamation tonight. It is an honor to be able to see those videos and really learn about everything that your people have been through. It's an honor for you to share that with us and to teach us and to continue to teach us. And as you teach us, you're passing that information down to your ancestors, and that is a very beautiful thing. We never want those things to be forgotten. We always want to remember the hardships, because some of those hardships were beautiful. We learned from them, and I think that's a really beautiful thing for your culture, for the art, for the way your people have survived and thrived and taught us all how to be good people. So thank you for being here. We're truly honored that you are here. And this is the third year of the REDI Commission. This is our last meeting of the year. And what other way could we celebrate it by including all of our community, our diverse community, and part of that is having you here tonight and being able to give you that proclamation. It has been my honor to serve as chair for this year. It's been exciting and crazy at times, and I've been so fortunate to serve with the commissioners that I have, and to have people enter this auditorium like we have tonight, to be able to share their stories. I think it really just presses forth how important it is that our commission exists. For people that don't want to believe in diversity and inclusion, it even makes it more powerful that you would take the time and come into this room this evening. These type of events need to live on, and they live on in our youth. And so I encourage all of you to continue to get involved and to continue to use your voice, because it's so important. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with us. And we're truly honored, truly honored. So thank you. Director Joel?
Yes, Chair Steed. So one of our fabulous public commenters mentioned Cuesta Mountain Day already. So again, that is November 15th, and we would love for everybody to participate in that. And finally, I want to take just a minute to speak to the Native daughters in the room. Our cultures are very similar with respect to acknowledging who our ancestors are and the strength that they give to us, acknowledging our land, acknowledging the respect that we have for our elders. And I can confidently say that your ancestors and your elders are so proud of you tonight. They are just beyond proud of you, and you are making them proud. So thank you for being here tonight.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and adjourn. Thank you.